You're still procrastinating, aren't you? And it's driving you mad. I know exactly how you feel. You try this, you try that, but nothing seems to stick. And all the productivity gurus out there, they keep giving you more ideas, but none of them are working for you, at least not long term. And you've got to the stage where you're fed up, confused, starting to wonder if you'll ever really crack this. And it's eating away at your confidence and your optimism, which ironically actually makes your procrastination worse. Talk about a vicious cycle. You badly want to break free from these chains that are holding you back. And by now you're feeling pretty desperate for a change, but you don't even know the questions to ask to start finding some real answers. Listen, I've been there. I really do get it. It's a depressing place to be. What you need is to go down a completely different path, a new way forward that will lead to real transformation and freedom from this endless loop that you feel stuck in. So here I am, reaching out a hand to help. I've got an approach that's personal, tailored to your unique situation and needs and personality. This isn't about throwing more ill-fitting advice at you. This is about finding the key that unlocks the door to inner peace and fulfillment that you've been searching for. I'm Phil Drinkwater, by the way. Helping procrastinators is a big part of what I do every week. And my method, while simple, is incredibly powerful. And why is this? Because it puts you at the center. It's your personal roadmap to a whole new chapter of productivity. Fair warning though, this won't be an overnight quick fix. All those instant solutions are exactly why you're still struggling. If you're really ready to get to the root of this and solve it once and for all, keep listening. And if not, feel free to click away and keep chasing those magic bullets. No hard feelings. I will actually be quite interested to see how many of you stick around when I look at my stats after that last statement. I'm hoping some of you really are up for what it takes to go through, even though it's going to be hard. Figuring out how you tick and what really works for you is the right answer and so much worth the effort. It's an investment that will pay dividends back every single day. All right, so what's the big secret that everyone's missing? 3 little letters, W-H-Y. Why? See, when you've got a problem to solve, you've got 2 options. You can run around trying this and that, scattergunning approaches and hoping to stumble across a fix eventually. Or you can take some time to figure out what's really going on, get to the root of it, and then you can craft a solution that's custom built. So the key question that people are missing is, why are you procrastinating? And we'll go into this today. I put together a free workbook to help you through this process actually. Don't worry, it won't eat up all of your time, just a few minutes a week. But here are 2 really important things you have to keep in mind. 1, you've got to really dig deep and examine with a microscope what's really going on. The real reason you're procrastinating might surprise you. Sometimes the tiniest tweaks to your approach can change everything. And 2, try to focus on one thing at a time if you can. If you're changing too many variables at once, it gets tricky to pinpoint what's actually working for you, and you might get overwhelmed as well. So slow and steady wins the race here. The goal is to truly fix the issue and not just slap on more plaster, or a band-aid if you're from America. So here's how it breaks down. Step 1, look back at your week, pinpoint a time where you weren't as productive as you thought you should be or could be. Step 2, ask yourself, why was I really unproductive here? And the workbook will prompt you and help you get to the heart of the matter. Step 3, brainstorm some potential solutions. The 8 creative ways section of the workbook will be your friend here, and it's an approach that I use with people all the time. Step 4, decide which idea or ideas you're going to implement moving forward. And then step 5, rinse and repeat. If you've nipped the issue in the bud, great. On to the next one. If not, you've learned something that you can use to help you refine your approach even more. That's valuable information. Now, this works whether you're in someone else's business or your own, but since I talk mostly about entrepreneurship on this channel, I'll give you an example from my world. Then we'll dig into some of the most common reasons that people procrastinate to give you some new ideas when you're trying to be creative with new approaches. So let's pretend it's Monday morning and you're fired up, ready to make some serious moves in your business this week. You've decided posting consistently on Instagram is the most impactful thing for you to do, but consistency's been hard. You know you want it, but somehow it eludes you. You sit down to crank out a list of 10 killer post ideas so you can cherry pick the best 5. You're cruising along really well until about post 7 and you run out of ideas. Your mind starts wandering and before you know, you've jumped onto another task entirely. Maybe this sounds familiar to you. Let's unpack the why behind your productivity nosedive. You hit a wall coming up with fresh ideas and your focus jumped ship to something easier for your brain. This is crazy common for all of us ADHD people. We thrive on novelty and struggle with mental roadblocks, especially when we need to find consistency. So now that we've identified the root issue, what's the fix? We've zeroed in on the trigger. You ran out of creative steam. The solution has to tackle that specific problem. Time to break out the 8 creative ways system. Ask yourself, what are 8 wildly different strategies I can use to keep my content ideas flowing? Why did I include the word wildly there? Well, we want them to be different to each other. Noticeably different, significantly different. And why did I include 8? Because the first couple are going to be your knee-jerk go-to answers, the standard patterns that you tend to follow. But if you want real change, the kind that really sticks, you've got to stretch yourself outside your comfort zone. Forcing yourself to come up with 8 options opens the door to some seriously creative brainstorming. What if you feel stuck? Well, no worries. I've got some tricks from the workbook. Try putting yourself in someone else's shoes. How would your best friend tackle this? Or your favorite business mogul? Maybe even your favorite movie character. They might have some wisdom to share. Personally, I like to channel my inner Captain Picard from Star Trek The Next Generation. That guy's a total boss at thinking outside the box and coming up with new strategies. If you're still coming up empty, cast a wider net. Ask ChatGPT for a brainstorm session. Go on Google for some new tips. Scope out some comments on relevant YouTube videos for inspiration. And Reddit's another goldmine when you know where to look. And here's the 5 ideas that I would come up with to keep my content machine going. First off, get ChatGPT to put together a month's worth of post prompts on a specific topic. Second, have ChatGPT drill down on the pain points in specific areas for even more inspiration. Third, become a pro at uncovering your audience's biggest pain points by putting yourself in their shoes. 4, offer free chats with your customers and mind those conversations for really good pieces of content. 5, create a spreadsheet matrix of post types and topics to make it easier to be creative. 6, join a Facebook group in your niche and keep an eye out for hot issues. 7, hire a team of VAs or subject experts to keep ideas coming in. And 8, dive into some books to help spark some new ways of thinking about your subject. And there you have it. That's 8 creative new ways. Now, I know this seems like a lot of legwork, but trust me, it'll pay off in the long run. Play the long game here, and future you will be really thanking past you for putting in the work. So let's say you decide on 3 to move forwards with ChatGPT ideas along with some free customer conversations and that nifty spreadsheet system. Now you're off to the races. But then next week, you get a plot twist. One of your new strategies doesn't lead to consistency and is actually a problem for you. Well, there's no issue. You've now got some new information and a new mystery to solve. Why did they fall flat? And that's going to help you course correct. Or maybe they solve that initial problem entirely, but you hit another one later down the line. Well, it's a rinse and repeat situation. You've just got a new procrastination problem to solve. For me, researching hashtags on Instagram is my personal hate. I'd literally rather watch paint dry, but now I know that about myself, I can plan accordingly, and knowledge is really the power here. If I think for a second about the why in this with me, it's because of my ADHD. I feel really uncomfortable doing the same task time and time again. So now we understand the process, I'm really keen to know what you think. Do you see how this is going to be foolproof? You can still use other people's ideas as part of this, but you're in the driving seat, learning and improving all the time and seeing small changes as growth, not frustration. Your eyes on the microscopic detail too. If you try something that doesn't work, you can now zone in on exactly why, and that gives you new solutions. By constantly asking yourself the right questions and making small, steady tweaks, you literally can't lose. It's the opposite of trying to overhaul everything overnight, which never ends well. Baby steps. That's what's right here. As I promised, I was going to run through the top reasons that people procrastinate. If any of these sound like you, you're in good company and you can use this information. So, perfectionism. This can rear its head in so many ways. Analysis paralysis is one that I see commonly. It's often a smokescreen, though, for deeper fears about not being able to handle less than ideal outcomes. Boring, repetitive, and mundane tasks, the ADHD crowd really knows this too well. Anything admin-based is normally our worst nightmare. It's like watching grass grow. Totally painful for us. Fear of failure, I'm sure you've heard of, and it's everywhere. Anxiety can really lead us to feel frozen in our tracks, terrified to make a move or put ourselves out there. I've had plenty of this over the years. Overwhelm, another big one for ADHD people. When you're drowning in decisions and to-dos, it's easy just to throw up your hands and shut down entirely. Indecision. Raise your hand if you're in this club. I speak to so many people who struggle with indecision. From imposter syndrome to fear of regret to avoidance of responsibility and just sometimes lacking information, indecisiveness can spring up from a million different places. Hanging on to your comfort zone. The status quo can feel really cozy, even when a part of us knows we need to shake things up. This can be a sneaky side effect of people-pleasing or imposter syndrome, among a bunch of other things. Constant instant gratification. Sometimes the important stuff just gets backburnered because the payoff feels too far away. For example, we know we should be working on our business rather than just in it, but that long-term delayed reward is a tough sell in a specific moment. So while for some of us we recognize our ADHD brains are particularly susceptible to procrastination, no one's immune. We've all been there. So if you find yourself dragging your heat more often than not, go grab that free workbook and start unraveling your own unique productivity formula. Trust me, future you will be eternally grateful that you took the time to crack this. And your self-esteem will get a really nice boost from taking such a proactive, structured approach to the problem. It's a massive win-win. If this kind of honest, plain talk resonates with you, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe button and keep the good stuff coming. And it'll help me to get this content in front of even more people who really need to hear it. We're all in this together as a community. All right, I'll be back with more gems for you soon. Stay tuned.